What's up, guys? This is Sam, and today we're looking at my rig. And so this is the rig that you'll see and hear on all of our tutorials. I'm just going to use one guitar for this, and it's my 2001 Fender Standard Deluxe. I've made a bunch of modifications to it, so it's definitely not original, but this is the guitar we're going to use. And out of this, I go into my good cell. And so I would say, if you're a new player or you've been playing for a long time, the most important thing when it comes to tone is your guitar and your amp. If they do not sit well together, if they don't sound good by themselves, pedals and Verb are just going to try to cover up the lack of tone you have there. So I would start there. And so my amp is a 2013 Good Cell Super 17 Mark IV. It's a builder out of Atlanta, and I just landed this on a massive deal. I traded my Morgan AC20 for it, and I never looked back. Phenomenal amp. It cleans up really well, tons of headroom, but then it can also get really dirty and gritty if I need it to. So those are my first two pieces of gear. So make sure you got a good guitar and a good amp, and then we'll jump into the rest of this stuff. So if you're looking at my pedal board, you'll see it here. My my signal goes straight into my tuner, and I use my tuner for one as a tuner, but I also use it as a mute switch. So if I ever have an emergency or need to kill my signal, I just step on it and all my signal is cut because it's not true bypass. And so this tuner I would highly recommend. It's a Sonic Research ST200 turbo tuner, and it's actually a strobe tuner, meaning it spins in a circle and it gets really close. It's the most accurate tuner on the market that will fit on a pedal board. So I'll show you how it works. So if I unmute here, you can hear my E, and you can see where it spins left a little bit, meaning it's a little bit flat. And so if I want to raise it up, I'm going to do that. The goal is to get it to stop spinning. So my A is a tiny bit sharp, bring it back a little bit, awesome. D, a little bit sharp, bring it back a little bit, good. G, a little bit sharp, bring it back a little bit, B. So that's how it works. And once you get everything to stop spinning, then you're rocking, and it should sound pristine. And so I'm going to show you an E chord so you can hear how well this does. Right on. So out of my tuner, I go into my volume pedal, and this volume pedal is a phenomenal volume pedal. It's the best one that I've used. I think I've gone through 4 or 5 different companies, different brands, different types, models, whatever. Ernie Ball being one that I've been through like 7 different times. I've snapped the string every time, and it was in an important gig, and I just like, I can't do this anymore. I tried Tapestry Audio's Bloomery, and for me, just the angle and when you would swell in, it would do a volume jump, probably like 5 to 10 dBs, and it was noticeable when you're trying to do swells and that kind of stuff. But this volume pedal is phenomenal. There's no tone suck. The angle is just right for your ankle, and for me, the spread from 0 to 100 is actually 0 to 100. So I'll demonstrate with no verb, no delay, anything. You can just hear how it sounds. So the tone all stays there. It doesn't suck anything out. So from that, I go into my Jackson Audio Prism, and I use it as a preamp. And it's beautiful because you can actually shape your tone from this pedal right here. It almost acts as an EQ. At the same time, it's really enhancing your signal. And honestly, I used to use it as a gain or a fuzz, but I stopped doing that to use it as a preamp to really shape, because what I noticed is when I would play different places, I would listen to the front of house, the sound of my guitar, and it would be really muddy, or sometimes it would be way too thin or too sharp up top. And so I actually use this pedal to cut or to add what I need to. So the tone knob can either bring in a bunch of highs if it's really muddy, or I can bring them down if it's too sharp. And the body actually raises up your lows and your mids, and it enhances your bottom end signal. And so if I turn it off, you can hear my clean signal. And then I turn it on. There's a little bit more bottom end that's added, and my tone is a little less than 12 o'clock, but it's just gonna basically, it's just enhancing my amp sound a tiny bit. It doesn't do that much where I have it set, but I want it to just add a little bit of gain and a little bit of body, and so that's what I use that for. The next thing in my chain is my compressor. It's an Origin Effects Cali 76 Compact Deluxe, and the way I use mine is as parallel compression. So if you look at my settings, you can see how the knobs are run, and on their website they actually show you a few presets that you can use. But I use it in this way because, and they even tell you this, is that it's the best of both worlds. So when you run it as parallel, you get the attack, you get the dynamics of what you're playing, but you also get a really nice sustain and compressed signal afterwards. And so I'll show you. Just here's my E chord, and then if I engage it, turn it off, turn it on. So for me, it's a noticeable amount of sustain that's added to my sound, and I just need that for the stuff that I'm doing, which is mostly worship, you know, some pop gigs, kind of stuff like that, jazz gigs occasionally, but it's just great for what I need it for. And that will always stay on. Same with the Prism. They're always on my board. The next section is my Overdrive section. And I use a Emerson Custom M Drive and a JHS Morning Glory version 3. I tried version 4 and I did not like it. V3 is exactly what I needed with the amount of gain, with the high cut knob, with the tone knob, all that kind of stuff. It's great. So I'll just show you what the M Drive does. It kind of has a natural bottom end boost to it. And so it just kind of thickens up when I'm playing rhythm or a driving lead or something. It really thickens up and kind of glues together my sound. So here's what the M Drive sounds like. Here's a G chord clean. And now with the M Drive, you can hear how it kind of fills in some of that space in the middle. So for me, when it comes to drive and to rhythm, that kind of stuff, that's my stage 1, and I use it all the time. It's phenomenal. The next one is my stage 2, which is my Morning Glory. And this one I'm going to use for, you know, leads or stuff that I need to cut through. I have my treble set pretty high on it. The tone is up a lot, so it cuts through in the mix. It's not dirty. It's not going to muddy my sound. But the gain is pretty high as well, and so you can hear the difference. So here's clean. Now with the Morning Glory. Without it. With it. So if I stack these two, here's clean. I get a really nice extra compressed signal, and it's going to cut through the mix, and it's great for chords. So that's my drive section. So up next we have the modulation section, and for me that only consists of one pedal, and that is my Walrus Audio Julia. And I use that mostly for a vibrato, especially on songs like King of My Heart, on the chorus line and that kind of thing. And so on the far right, you can see where it's set as a vibrato. And I bring the rate up pretty high when I play this song, but I'll play that hook for you with some verb and delay, just so you can hear it. So 1, 2, 3. So you can hear just the Julia, the vibrato effect is. To me, it adds so much to your movement, to the sound. Another way I use it is I actually put it on a chorus. And so if I put it in the middle, I'm going to bring my rate way down and I'm going to bring my depth up. And this actually helps to cut through as well. Because without any modulation, your sound can sometimes get buried in the mix, which is fine. But if I want something to cut through, I'm going to turn a chorus on. Not too much to where it sounds like it's the 80s or the 90s, just enough to where it's a noticeable amount. And so I'll do, like this is Amazing Grace, right? So without it, 1, 2, 3, 4. So with it, if I add this in, you'll hear a noticeable difference. And so in the mix, it's actually going to stick out a little bit more and cut through without having too much treble and sharpness and that kind of stuff. So that's what I use that for. It's got a ton of uses, and I've already engaged them, and you can see them now. But I have 2 delays. I have a Diamond Memory Lane Junior, which is an analog delay, and it is absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite things about this pedal is the modulation in this pedal, and so I normally will run that really high, and the way you engage it is you hold this knob right here and it'll turn red, and so I'm going to let you hear it, the modulation. Just listen real close to these notes. That's no verb, that's just the pedal. So that's beautiful, and I always leave that on my dotted eighth. The next one I use is my El Capistan, and it is a phenomenal pedal, and I use this most of the time as a second reverb kind of thing. A ton of repeats. I leave it really high in the mix. When I do swells, it's just going to create a bass or like almost a pad layer underneath me, and it's a very subtle delay if I ever use it as a delay. So that's what that's for. And the last pedal in my chain is a Strymon Bigsky, and you all know what that does. It's a phenomenal reverb. I'll just show you real quick some of my settings. The first one is what I call my cell sweating swell setting, and so this is what it sounds like. Great for swells, high mix, long decay. The next one I have is a plate verb. This one's for kind of some driving rhythm lead lines that I don't want to have a ton of verb on. And so it's got a good tail on it, but it doesn't sit too hot in the mix. The last one is a room verb, which is something I would use for, you know, like a funk or something that doesn't need a bunch of ambience. And so this is what it sounds like. So if I'm doing a jazz gig or kind of a blues gig, this is a great verb to use. And those are my three go-tos. I have my tap here, which syncs my Strymon El Capistan and my Memory Lane Junior right here. And that's pretty much it. That's my rig. That's how I use it, what I use it for. And so hopefully that's encouraging to you. These are phenomenal pedals. I would encourage you to check them all out if you have not yet. But that's my rig, and so now you know what we're running, how we're running it, and our uses for it. So appreciate you guys.